a little bit about this odd theory that I have involving the possibility of reincarnation, but not just that, the possibility of reincarnation in the wrong order. Like, not chronologically, as in, you could live way, way in the future when there's this utopian society first, when your soul is, say, young and vulnerable, in order to get the basics of life down, before you come back to now, you deal with life and drama and debts and responsibilities, and then you go back to, like, the Middle Ages, where just, you know, things were freaking hard. But the concept is this, and this might be a little abstract, so I apologize, but imagine, if you will, that, you know, time, as we understand it, it's the way that we understand it because we understand it, right? And that doesn't make a lot of sense. What I basically mean by that is time needs matter in order to exist, because energy supposedly cannot be created nor destroyed, right? Well, I figure the only reason we understand time is because we are physical matter. Everything that we know, understand, and interact with is physical matter. Yes, we interact with energy and light and that kind of thing, but the point remains, that's not what we really measure time on. Time becomes a very weird thing when you're dealing with, you know, light and energy, because while it may take light time to travel, there's nothing different about the energy, the light, to say that the time has passed. Only the distance, and that's only in an imperfect atmosphere. I'm getting off on a tangent. Anyway, so, yeah. What would time be without the physical? How do we measure time? We measure time by rate of decay. Number of, you know, times that the Earth spins around. You know, how long it takes for the Earth to complete one rotation from when we see the sun to where we see the sun. Yeah. That's how we understand time. We've broken it up into sections and fractions and parts and hours and minutes and seconds and milliseconds. But the point remains, you know, we measure time based on the amount of decay. We all have a limited time. Well, what if your energy on its own, left to its own devices, doesn't decay? It doesn't decay at all. It doesn't matter how long, it doesn't decay. You know, you might think of batteries and capacitors, that's energy, well, that's electricity, but, you know, those are physical things, and the stuff that makes up the batteries decays. That's why you'll get a battery that's never been used, it's also dead. You know, pure energy, especially something like spiritual energy, you know, what we see as the soul, imagine it's just spiritual energy, you know, how is time really going to affect that? There's nothing physical, there's no decay. So, who's to say that if the soul is comprised of spiritual energy, our essence, you know, in a non-physical form, who's to say that it would be affected by time at all? What is age to an ageless thing, you know? And if you were to look in those terms, then if energy isn't affected by time, what's to stop energy from moving any way it wants in time? If time is like a fourth dimension or something, well, energy isn't stuck falling through it like we are. So who's to say that it that we couldn't just, as energy, move back and forth and sideways and diagonally and whatever the fourth dimension direction would be through it. Who's to say we couldn't? So, if reincarnation exists, then who's to say that I couldn't experience, say memories or hallucinations, whatever, of a past life in whatever chronology that energy goes by, that was actually lived in the future, as I see it, in this form. I see nothing saying it's impossible, right? I mean, the entire concept is completely unprovable, but it makes a lot of sense to me. It makes, well, I'm not going to go there, but, yeah, if energy cannot be created nor destroyed, then energy does not decay, and energy isn't really affected by time, at least not in the way that we understand it, now. So, what's to say that energy could move back and forth through what we understand as time? Going from our current physical form to, a newer, more advanced one. It could be as simple as picking up that one dimension. Go back and go physical again, wherever we feel we need to be. As strange as it sounds, it makes a lot of sense to me. I am basing this kind of heavily on a book that I read by a guy named Dr. I think Brian L. Weiss. He wrote a book called Many Lives, Many Masters. And it kind of made a lot of sense to me. The whole thing is basically about past life regression therapy, mostly via hypnosis, and how we perceive death and the past, and how we can pick up traits from what we once were. Yeah, it's actually a fairly good book, as long as you're not extremely religious and set in your views. Yeah, kind of lost my train of thought there, but the point is, energy not affected by what we understand as time. So could it go through time? Could it move back and forth through time? Especially energy given sentience, like you would imagine a soul would be. Comments and questions are welcome to all 2 people who will ever watch this video. I am interested to hear what you have to say. In the meantime, I need a haircut. My hair is getting a little too Bieberish.